All right, so this is the first podcast for my new podcast called The Loop, a golf podcast on YouTube. I'm excited. I got JT the Mutt from my Big and Small show joining me. And the goal of this is we're going to talk all things golf, but from professional golf, DP World Tour, PGA, LIV, even Corn Ferry, whatever's going on in professional golf, to content creator golf. From my knowledge, there's not a lot of people talking about what the content creators are doing. They're just watching the content. They're not really, I could give a review, I could give a heads up, um, you know, stuff like that. I think it'll be interesting. And then we're going to talk local golf as far as what I'm doing, what JT's doing. We'll have other people on the show as well. Talk about local things that we're doing. And then one of the upcoming things I'm going to do, and the first thing I'm going to do, which is relevant to winter golf, is I'm going to do a review of simulator places in my area on the South Shore of Massachusetts, where I'm going to be. I'm going to go in there on in a couple days, film them, show the interior. Maybe interview a manager or two if they're game for that. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see that. Then we can rate them, and go from there. What are your thoughts, JT?
Yeah, no, it sounds good. I appreciate you having me on, Brian. Obviously, I'm very excited to be part of the first episode here and ready to talk about some golf. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you can follow us on Instagram too. It's again the Loop Podcast on Instagram. All right, so let's get into it. So I was going to start with DP World Tour. I don't know if you've been following them that much, but I'm kind of a golf geek, and this week coming up is the DP World Tour Championship in Dubai, which I think for me the reason why it's interesting is there's a number of guys from the Live Tour that play in the DP World Tour as well. It's a way for them to keep their official golf world rankings up. They get points for that. So a guy like Terrell Hatton is in the field. Patrick Reed's in the field. There's a number. I think John Rahm was eligible, but I don't think he's playing. But so that to me keeps it interesting. I like the DP World Tour. We're coming off the Ryder Cup, so a lot of the guys that were in the Ryder Cup are going to be playing this weekend, and Rory McIlroy will be there. He'll be like the headliner of the whole thing. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting. So that's in Dubai. So I'm looking forward to that. Reporting, I'll report on the results of that. But that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I feel like World Tour will probably get a little bit more traction, especially this time of year, coming off of the Ryder Cup, where Europe unfortunately beat the US. I wish that it came out a little bit differently in the Ryder Cup, but I feel like that kind of reignites the interest of the more competitive, the younger spirited individuals. I mean, the crowd at Bethpage Black was a little bit rowdy, as everyone expected. I feel like it kind of draws in some of that crowd, and there is a time period, I feel like, after that event where like you get more interest from people that aren't normally keeping up. So it should be interesting to see what they do. I think it's good that they have some of the Live people in the event in Dubai. Obviously, Live is based, they're bankrolled by Dubai, correct?
No, Saudi Arabia.
Oh, Saudi Arabia. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Pardon me. Mixing up my Middle East over there. It's not great.
yeah, don't want to do
Yeah, definitely not.
that.
But yeah, no, I think that'll be a really good showing. Obviously, like you said, Rory being a headliner, and then you got Hatton in there. It's going to be a fun weekend for what feels like a cold time of year in New England. So that'll be good.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is during the winter. That's how I actually kind of get into like watching pro golf is, because when it's freezing cold outside or miserable, you turn on the TV and there's this beautiful sunny place where they're playing golf, and I kind of get into it, a long time ago. But Dubai's a nice place. Um, Skyline's crazy, and the golf course is right there, so that'll be fun to watch. I know you don't have the field in front of you, but make a prediction. What do you think? Is like Tommy Fleetwood's in it? Like
I do. I know that Tommy Fleetwood was, you know, as Dougie was saying on the Big and Small podcast and on your other episodes that you had, always the bridesmaid, never the bride for a while. I think that he is really emerging into his own. Obviously, like all year, he was having trouble getting that number one spot, but I feel like the way that he really showed up at the Ryder Cup was huge. So call me crazy, but I am kind of predicting that he's going to show up and do something big in this outing. So,
Well,
like you said, I don't have the full field, but
he just lost last week. I told you I'm a golf geek.
yeah.
Tommy Fleetwood just lost in a playoff last week in Abu Dhabi to what's his name? Aman Rao, Aman Rai, however you say his name, the guy that wears the two black gloves. Um, yeah, he beat him. He beat Tommy Fleetwood in a playoff this past weekend. So Fleetwood continues to play very, very good golf, and yeah, I would say he's the favorite. Rory was in that tournament too, but he made a run, but he didn't. He wasn't there at the end. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm
Who are
putting
you
in
thinking, Brian? Who do you
well,
got? Who are you rooting for? Who are you predicting?
I'm putting in favorites right now. Let's see how it has for favorites for that tournament. Rory's the favorite. Wow, Rory's the favorite to win that. Um, I don't
I'm
agree with
not surprised to hear that, knowing that he's coming off of the career Grand Slam, right? I mean, he's obviously a name that carries a ton of weight. As you said, as I said, he's obviously going to be the big name, the headliner. I personally find it tough to go out and root for Rory. It feels like mentally he's all over the place. He comes in waves, he shows up and he's hot. And the next day he shows up and he's very much so not. He wants to be that guy in his head, and I feel like he's just not there mentally. Obviously, he's got the golf skill to go out and do whatever he's got to do. No one's disputing that, but he's missing a certain swagger about the way that he approaches the course each day. So I have a tough time picking him in any lineup. I
it. Yeah,
feel crazy saying it, but that's just how I view it.
I'm gonna go with Terrell Hatton. So right now we got Rory at plus 400, Tommy at plus 600, Terrell Hatton at plus 1100. Ludwig Alberg is in it at 1400. Robin McIntyre. So this is the European Ryder Cup team.
Yeah.
Robin McIntyre plus 1400, Matt Fitzpatrick at plus 1600, Nikolai Højgaard. I mean, they're all the same dudes.
Yeah,
Like
it's literally the team, like you said.
Aaron Rai, who won last week, is plus 2000. Shane Lowry's plus 2500. I mean, if you're a golf fan, that's a good take because you're seeing, in my opinion, the best golfers in the world. Yeah, they're European, but um, they're the best golfers in the world, and they're playing this weekend, which the PGA Tour has been off for since before the Ryder Cup. Patrick Reed is in this tournament. He's plus 4500. So he's a live guy that's trying to get his official world golf ranking points. So it's going to be good. Justin Rose is in it. He's always a he's always a dude. So
I'm a fan
yeah,
of Rosie. Yep. I root for him whenever he's out there.
good stuff. All right, let's move on to PGA. PGA, they are being criticized. There was are you familiar with Wesley Bryan?
I am, yes.
So Wesley Bryan, I guess, was on a hot mic. It made some comments about how the PGA Tour is very controlling. You heard about this?
I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, and it's causing a lot of ruckus. PGA Tour is like in total defense mode. Um, I love the PGA Tour. I love Scotty Scheffler and all the stuff, but I totally agree that they definitely are geared towards the stars, and you don't really if you're watching the tournament on the weekend. I mean, yeah, they're showing the leaders, but they're showing the guys they want you to see. And the guy that's in fifth place that, is this up and comer, you don't get much of. It's definitely like you feel like there's an agenda, you know?
Yep. It
And
feels like
I
a spotlight series almost.
yeah, I mean there was allegations that they direct the sponsors to certain players and certain players don't get. Yeah. Um and it's like, the PGA kind of controls that. Like you would think that, if you're an up and coming guy and you get onto the PGA Tour, it's like a free agent. You can go and talk to anyone you want, but apparently the PGA talks to those companies and says, these are the guys we want you to, focus on. So that's, that's kind of a black eye. You know what I mean? And it's not good. Like, a guy like, you familiar with Brandel Chambly?
Yes.
He is like he's like the cheerleader for the PGA Tour. He gets on the Golf Channel and he talks down about Live and because he's talking about the Saudis and where the money's coming from and what kind of culture that is and how they
Hmm.
treat women and all this stuff. It's like I'm pretty sure the Saudis have contributed to PGA Tour in the past. So I mean, it's very what's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical
Yes.
that they throw rocks at the Live Tour, which yeah, I mean, sure that there's atrocities, but don't when it comes to money, don't tell me that the PGA Tour is like very choosy about where they get their money from or where the donations come from. I think that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, and honestly, I was unaware that part of that hot mic from Wesley Bryan, right? I was unaware that there was conversation furthermore outside of, I just heard that it was a controlling topic, that
Yeah.
the PGA is very controlling. I was unaware of it went to the extent of up and comers trying to get sponsorships, and the sponsors are being directed to look at guy A over guy B. That's really disappointing because these are people that, the PGA Tour is not like YouTube golf, which I know we'll get into later, but it's not just buy a phone and go out, start playing, get a following. It's you got to go through Q school. You got to do the whole thing, right? You got to most likely go up through the Corn Ferry Tour and earn your card and go like it feels to me like if I were to go through such an arduous process and really grind for years, and in all likelihood, right, you probably played in college as well, and
Oh
in
yeah.
some avenue in respect of however you got there, it was no easy road. I would want to like I probably have irons that I like to play at that point and woods, and I like to carry a certain bag and wear a certain hat brand because before you're sponsored, you're still going out to whatever the sporting goods store is in your neighborhood, and you're buying what's there. You would hope that you have a chance to at least get sponsored by one of those people. And if the big name brands are being directed away from, call it JT Bryan, right?
Well,
And that
it's
could be heartbreaking to some of these guys that have worked for so long, and that's really disappointing. It's like a bad business practice, like you said. It is definitely a black eye.
well the way they presented it, it's more of a they put you in a category, So there was a memo that was found that had a list of players on it, and next to the list of players there were comments, and Wesley Bryan's name was on it, and it said unpredictable, talks to social media too much. So that was where he was labeled. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
they're profiling guys, and based on your profile is the direction you're going to go. Like it's supposed to be an independent league where you're rewarded based on your success, and not based on whether somebody likes you or somebody wants to promote your likeness. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
at the end of the day, however much control they want, you got to tee it up and be successful. But apparently they're taking it from there and saying, okay, well, if you're going to do that, we're going to determine the opportunities you're going to get moving forward. And I don't understand that. Like and so it is a pretty big black eye in my opinion for the PGA. The PGA, like it's kind of like it's our rules and that's it. You know what I mean? Um, and like Live guys can't play on the PGA Tour and stuff. But the DP World Tour figured it out. Why? Because they care about the fans. They care about the product. So they know that their fans want to go out and see Terrell Hatton play. You
Right.
know, it's not a mystery that obviously the majors are the majors, but like you got Bryson DeChambeau out there, squaring up against Scotty Scheffler. People want to see that. You know, um, they want to see John Rahm out there. So the PGA just kind of turns their nose up like, we're better than you, so you're not allowed here.
Right.
It's kind of a turnoff. It's, you know what I mean? It's more and even the whole thing, like, I know it wasn't the PGA Tour, it was more the players, but like they had to get $200,000 for the Ryder Cup. Like, what do those guys need 200 grand for? You know what I mean? It was kind of, it's like it just doesn't look good. The optics are terrible, you know?
Yeah. And the PGA's been taking their lumps of late. The last few years, especially with the emergence of LIV, obviously being the catalyst around much of the controversy for the PGA and how players were picking and choosing. And it kind of gave the PGA a certain feel of like superiority. Like you said, they're turning their nose up at these guys. Almost as if to say, well, obviously way back then, well, go ahead. We don't need you. And now they're coming to realize like, yeah, they got amateurs that are always going to be coming up and they're always going to be looking to be the next big name, but like those live guys do bring a certain level of attraction, a certain level of popularity, and it is TV, it is ratings. Like as much as you would like to call it this exclusivity, this boys club, this, you gotta be following all the rules. It's almost like over the top censorship. Almost, it feels like too much. Like they're trying to make it feel overly selective. And I feel like now they're in a position where they're almost too nervous to change their opinion because then they become hypocritical. Oh, you should have done this forever ago. Oh, you guys are obviously made poor decisions in the past. And like it feels like they're too nervous to shift their opinions because of the stances they've taken in the past.
In my opinion, there's a world where the PGA and the Live Tour and the DP World Tour can coexist. And if you let guys, you know, cross paths or whatever and play in each tournament, I think it just enhances the game of golf, more. I mean, Live is more
100%.
of a more Live is more of a global, way more global than the PGA. They have tournaments from Australia to, the Far East to, Indiana. You know what I mean? Like they're all over the
Right.
place. They go through Europe, they go everywhere. So if you give, the PGA Tour players a chance to play, um, maybe the PGA Tour puts a team in for a live event. So stuff like there's a million things they can do, and there's a million ways they can make even more money. And it's just the PGA Tour is like they're not having it. So I don't know. I mean, I watched a podcast with Brando Chambly and the guy from ESPN. I forget what his name is, but he just feels like the PGA. They're the top dog, and whatever they want to do, they're gonna do. But people aren't that dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People see through that bully mentality. They see through it, and it's kind of a turnoff. I mean,
100%.
they're gonna watch the majors and stuff like that, but the golfer that they want, the viewer they want to watch all the tournaments, they're gonna start losing those guys because they're gonna be like, you know, not into what they're doing. And I think it's an opportunity for Liv to step up their game and get more eyes on it. And I think they're doing a lot of good stuff. Like you familiar with the duels that the Live does?
Yes, I am. I love that
That's,
concept.
I mean, with internet golf exploding like it is, I think a thing like the duels is going to take on a whole new thing. And and we're going to get into it a little bit later, but this, you know, internet invitational, if Liv ever stepped in there and got behind that, um, and created like a series, now
100%.
you got eyeballs. Um, so it's interesting. Well, it's interesting to see what happens. But let's go ahead and move on to Liv. Two giant things came out recently. The first one being that they've lost $1 billion, over $1 billion since they've started. Um, and it's like, who the hell starts a business with, the thought or even you know, the risk of losing over $1 billion? But to the Saudis, $1 billion is they didn't get in it for the money. They got in it for the culture. They want to grow the game of golf. They want to change the focus because their primary everything they do revolves around oil, and they got to
Right.
get some irons and some other fires, and golf's one of them, and it's going to take a while. I mean, they still have a lot of cultural things, going on there as far as like where women are and things like that. Like you'll never see a live women's tour. But maybe you will someday. I mean, that's kind of like, where you want to be, where you want to go to, you know what I mean? You want to, but that's a huge thing. But you know, but that's a big deal. They lost $1 billion, but they have no signs of slowing down. If anything, they're picking it up, and that leads to the second thing, which is live, which many people know and many people might not know, is actually the Roman numeral for 54, which is the amount of holes that they play. Um, they're changing the rules this year, so they're going to play 72 holes, but they're not going to change the name Live because Live's become a brand.
Right.
So they're going to have 72 holes in the turn in the just to get official world golf ranking points. And hopefully that works out because that's going to allow guys to try to get points to be eligible for things like the majors and the Ryder Cup and things like that. So it's a step in the right direction. I think it's a step. It should be a step towards some type of agreement with the PGA. The DP World Tour is already on board. Um, so I think I think golf's going in the right direction. I think PGA has to kind of change their ways a little bit. Be a little bit more flexible, and I think there is a road. There is a road. I mean, Live has a major problem because there's no development path.
Yes. And I think that's part of what they're coming to realize with they've been, what has it been now? 3, 5 years, something like that, right? So they're not in their first year of operation anymore. Like you said, $1 billion, obviously no small chunk of change, but to them, it almost is. They're able to absorb something like that. Obviously, everybody knows when you're opening up any sort of new business adventure, right? You're going to have most likely some years of loss up front, and you're going to hope to make that up in the long run by building something that lasts. Like you said, I think that they're only on the upswing, just like hit and driver. But I think that with the expansion to the 72 holes, like you said, they're obviously looking to get world rankings points. They're working towards, in my opinion, a broader, world peace when it comes to let's all let everybody play everywhere kind of approach. DP World Tour, like you said, is all over it. I think this is really good. I really do, because as much as, the 54 holes of golf is probably great for Phil Mickelson, who's, on the back nine of his career, or maybe the last 18, right? Or even we saw Dustin Johnson didn't play that great. And he seems to be better fitted for the shorter format as well, just because that's what he's become accustomed to. Um, I think that in the long run, by opening up the 72 hole format, this is going to mean more people from DP World Tour are going to be, intermingling with these live guys. They're going to be practicing with these live guys. The live guys are going to be trying to play more on the DP World Tour because now they're in shape. They're ready to go. There is nothing to be like, well, I didn't train for this marathon, so to speak, right? Like I'm ready to go. I'm playing 72 holes. I'm part of this. It might not be with my team anymore, and it might be a slightly different format, but like I have the physical longevity to go here. Um, and honestly, I see PGA is going to have to fold at some point. And I think that they should, because it brings back the big names, right? Everybody wants to see all of the big players. I mean, John Rahm, love him or hate him, he's a big player in the space, big hitter. He plays well. He is one of the names that attracts people to come and watch.
I
Phil
love the guy.
Mickelson,
I love the guy. I'm a
obviously,
big fan of John Rahm,
yeah,
especially through watching him like things on the duels. Like and he plays a lot with the content creators. He's
yes.
got an awesome personality, and he's a
And
guy
he's
that
got a
you
big
want.
following from playing with the content creators as well. So I think that this then helps bring up, hey, like they don't have that road, that path of new talent coming in. I think that this opens up an opportunity to be like, where are we going to get it from? We're playing 72 holes. Maybe some of the guys that are in Q school and can't quite make the chop, maybe all of a sudden Liv opens up a junior version to be like, hey, come take a swing at it over here.
Well,
You know,
Live so big, they can go ahead and write a check and buy the Corn Ferry Tour. They could,
yeah.
Now they have the development path. Who knows? I think there's also, it's interesting. Golf is interesting now because the Champions Tour is kind of teetering. Like they don't, a lot of, I heard some chatter about the PGA letting that tour go or whatever. Like that's, especially with Tiger Woods now turning 50.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, maybe they won't. I don't know. I don't know what Tiger Woods' future is. The guy gets an operation every other month. But if he ever decided that he was going to go on the Champions Tour, it would blow that thing up. Like
Explode
it would rival the
overnight.
PGA Tour. The purses would be huge. The sponsors would be huge. It'd be interesting to see. That's a 54 hole format. Could be a Live Senior Tour. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I said, there's a lot of interesting things happening right now. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. But to be talking about this in November, I think is kind of cool. You know, where we're not in the middle of golf season, so there's a lot on the plate right now, and they get that foolish, which I'm not into it. The indoor league that they have, I forget what it's called.
Yes. I recall what you're talking about as well. I don't remember the name of it either. I think I watched 3 matches last year, and it is not up my alley. It's not.
No, it's not. I mean, it's fun to see the guys because you're a fan of the golfers,
Right.
but just the format, watching them hit a simulator,
It's not the same.
it's just not the same. I mean, aesthetically, you're used to watching those guys on the most beautiful courses in the world, not banging the ball into a wall down in, Florida. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's
Yeah.
different. It's different. I mean, yeah, they got the funky green that moves and all that, but it's not the same. It's not the same, and it's a gimmick, and I don't love it at all. I don't think
Agreed.
it's
I feel like it's more of a technology showcase than a golf
yeah.
showcase in that scenario. Because the technology, don't get me wrong, it's very cool, like where technology has come and how far it's gone to be like, hey, look, like look what we can do. We can hit into a screen. We can have a floor that shifts and moves as a green. We can do different lies to hit out of, and it can be really cool. And we can have the neon lights everywhere and team aspect, right? But at the end of the day, like I want to see these guys on the course making shots that, I could only ever dream of. Like that's the allure to me of watching golf and watching these guys do what they do. You know, I
It's
just
called
don't
the
I won't be watching this year,
it's
not
called the
once.
TGL.
Yes, that's what it was. Thank you.
Yeah, the TGL. Whatever. All right, let's move on to the I'll call it the darling of the day, which is the Internet Invitational, the
Yes.
Barstool Bob Does Sports Collaborative tournament that everybody's talking about. Now you said you've watched the first episode. I got a feeling that there's people like me that have time and you can click that on when it comes out and have that playing. Then there's guys like you who are very interested in it, but you have a real job and a real life, and you can only squeeze it in when you can squeeze it in. So you're kind of behind on where the content is right now. But I think it was an awesome idea. I have a million questions about it. The way it's coming off, and like you're almost with the first episode. Like my question is, I want to see the process and the logic behind how they came up with the people that are playing. You know, like who's not playing? Like who did you talk about? Like were they like the guy like the Duke? The Duke
Right.
was some dude that Bobby Fairways ran into, um, and put him on Instagram and stuff. And he's this character. You get that guy DOD. You know,
Hmm.
like a lot of these people I hadn't seen before. Other guys I had. You got like the Bryan brothers in there, and actually that little guy Chazzy. He's been in videos with the Bryan brothers before as well, so I've seen
Oh,
him,
has he?
familiar with him. Yeah, that guy's solid. Like he's just
Yeah.
solid. It was good to see the women in it. I don't know if it was a setup or not. They say it wasn't, but to have that girl that filled in for. They didn't say who it was,
Yeah, they
right?
did. They did. So it was
Oh,
for J.R. Smith. He said he couldn't get on his flight.
oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, J.R.
So
Smith. Like, how is he a content creator? You know?
I don't, he got into golf when he went back to school. You recall all that, right? He
Well, it
got
was
into
in.
golf.
I mean, it was in the summer, so they could have had like Curry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they could have done a multitude of things, right?
And they
But
probably will next time around. But yeah, I mean, there's. It's just I'm curious what that process was. You know what I mean, and how it played out like that. But being all that said, the people they did pick and the way they did it, I thought was fabulous. And then, people are talking about like you have all those people. Um, it's to come up with that format and the way they picked the teams and the way the matches went, things like that. It was extremely entertaining. I mean, YouTube. If you're past a half hour, you're losing people, right?
right.
The first episode's over 3 hours.
Yep.
And people are glued to it. Like they're watching it from beginning to end. So it's definitely it changed the mold when it comes to like YouTube watching, because it was that good. You know. Now then again, it's the first one, so they even said like, and I won't be giving anything away, but the first one got over I think over 5 million views, but it definitely steadily went down as it went on. It wasn't like each one. I mean, they've all done very well, but it wasn't like the first one. You know what I mean? The first one was,
Yep.
and then a lot of that's because half the field's gone the first day,
Yep.
so you lose all those people that like those guys, and there might be guys that, I mean, for me, I love them all. I thought it was great, but the concept, the way they pulled it off, Dave Portnoy, honestly, he's a little quirky the way because he doesn't really know golf,
At
so that's
all.
kind of awkward, you know. Um, but I like the way they do it. I like the way it's they're pulling it off.
Yeah, I think the format's great. And honestly, the cast of people that they've brought in, I mean, I call it cast, but I mean, I don't know if that's the right word, but the group of people that they brought in is really just superb. I mean, the meshing of personalities, even, I mean, you see people that are meeting each other, right, for the first time. Hey, good to meet you. And then all of a sudden, like, it feels very cohesive is the word that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So, I mean, John Gruden's out there. Someone asked, "Oh, who's John Gruden?"
Did you see that was Grant Horvath?
Oh, was it?
He
Oh,
said
I
I
didn't
don't.
see
He
the
said I
face.
don't
Yeah,
know who John Gruden is.
yeah.
If I was
And
there, I would
then
have been like,
you run a lap. You
you
gotta
just,
go.
you just lost your right to play in this tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how
We're
do you not
cutting
know who
that one
John
out,
Gruden
guys.
is? So that was that was funny.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, have you seen the John Gruden scene for the second half, the second part of
I
the
have
day?
not. So I have 30 minutes left in episode one to go.
Oh,
Like
actually,
you
you know what?
said,
The first episode is just the first set of matches, right?
yeah, it's the front nine
Okay, yeah.
on the first day. So it starts out with the drafting of the teams, which also, by the way, was the most realistic thing I've ever seen. I know we'll talk about golf later, but personal golf later, but the way that they drafted their teams
Yeah.
and the lack of organization, they're just yelling and they're in the restaurant. I was like, this is 100% accurate. This is exactly how it always goes. I thought it was very relatable right out the jump with that. The intro that they do, how they came up with the concept to do this, the 2-minute intro was perfect. I don't need an insane amount of details. I don't follow most of these guys on YouTube. I like Bob Does Sports. Obviously, I know Fat Perez FP. I know Joey Cold Cuts because they're all part of the Bob Does Sports grouping, right? And I know a number of the other people that are in the event, in the tournament, but I don't follow I don't follow the good guys regularly. Obviously, I recognize their face, their name. I know John Gruden, obviously. I know Andrew Santino, I believe. He's a comedian actor. He was really funny. Obviously, I know like Rick Shields. Um, so there's and of course, Bobby Burger, right? There's a number of people that I know. but there's also a number of people that I don't know, and this really kind of introduced me to some of these guys. Like I know the Bryan brothers. I didn't know Chess because I see the Bryan brothers loosely, and they come up with stuff. I don't follow Spit and Chicklets. Obviously, I know Biz just because he's a sports talk.
But you didn't know what you didn't know Wit?
I didn't know Chaz. I don't follow.
No, you said you follow Spit and Chicklets, Ryan
Oh
Whitney.
yeah, I don't follow Spit and Chicklets, but I know Biz because he's a famous hockey player, and now he does like the pregame and postgame shows. So I've seen some of Spit and Chicklets stuff, but like I don't follow them regularly, and
Keith
it's
Yandel.
a very very entertaining format that they've pulled together on the Survivor style. Half the field is out, then we're repicking teams. Then it just whittles it down that way. I think, like you said, that does leave a lot of people walking away after their people get cut that they wanted to watch. But, I think it's very entertaining. And it further points to YouTube golf is just ever growing. I think this is not going to be the last one that they do. They'll probably do this on a regular
Oh yeah,
basis.
I mean they could literally turn this into a
Full blown event.
like a series, like a almost a tour.
Yeah.
What's that guy, Roger, the black guy?
Yes.
He was. I'd never seen him before. Like he has a new fan now in me. You know what I mean?
Same. Same. I had
Um,
not seen him before. Um, People like the Duke, like you said, obviously a character ad. Um,
yeah.
I won't be following
No,
him,
I
but
won't either. I mean,
I am I am a
it
fan
was
of
funny, but it wasn't funny. You know what I mean?
right, right, right. I also do you know
It's kind of like a Howard Stern when he used to have like those misfit people. Like,
yes,
all right,
yes.
we're
It's
good.
like a
We're good.
throwaway person,
Yeah,
just
we're
an
good.
add-in.
I don't like that.
No.
He's only there because he's different. You
Right.
know?
He's there because he's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got a little drug problem.
I like Keith Yandel and who's the guy that he usually records with? I'll have to look this up as we're
Yeah,
talking
Ryan
here.
Whitney.
Yes.
Yeah, Ryan Whitney.
Yeah, I like them. They're fun.
Ryan
And
Whitney lives up the street. Well, he lives in Situate.
oh, nice. Very nice. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
He plays a lot of golf at Plymouth Country Club.
Oh, well, I'll
Yeah.
have to try and get over there and let him
Yeah,
know
he's
how great he is.
one matter of fact, they were filming at Plymouth Country Club, and they got to the ninth hole where Kaylee was working, and I said, "Oh, did they come up and get stuff?" She's like, "Nope, they had their pink Whitney drinks with them."
Yes,
I was
yes, I
like, "Oh
remember
yeah,
that.
they bring their
Yes.
own booze."
Yeah. The
I
course
thought that
makes
was
an
kind of funny.
exception this one time.
Yeah, yeah, for those guys, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's not it's not watching Scotty versus John Rahm on Sunday, but it's close.
It is
It's
competitive.
definitely intriguing. It's competitive. I mean, there's some guys that are good. Like that guy, Brad Dalkey. You know him from Good Good?
I saw him. I wouldn't have known his name to his
He
face
played in the
before this.
Masters. Like he's that good. He was an amateur to play in the Masters.
Nice.
He's legit. That guy's legit. And a lot of those guys are legit. Uh, so yeah, I mean, it's good enough to be. You're not watching some guy like hit it in the woods every hole.
Right.
But there's enough of that amateurism, I'll call it, to keep it real for
Yeah.
for people like us that bang
Yeah.
around.
PFT on the first hole, putting it in the woods because
Yeah,
Luke doesn't
Quan
show up.
overslept.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was. I don't know how I felt about that. Like, I was irritated because Quan didn't seem too bothered by it.
Yes, he was too nonchalant.
Yeah, he was very. Yeah, like he didn't care. And then, like they were saying, as he's like following PFT for the first four holes, he was like chirping him, saying like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're not gonna make it anyway." It's like, dude, you're single-handedly gonna lose this, not only this match, but like cause us to lose because this is a big match,
Right.
and you're acting like a total jerk.
Yes.
Whitney was not happy with him.
Nor should he have been. Neither
Yeah,
was Joey Coldcuts. Joey Coldcuts was ready to fucking find him and, pardon me, ready to find him and
yeah,
rip him off the face of the earth. He was ready to throw him into outer space. And honestly, I don't disagree, especially because he's, walking up to PFT and he's like, it doesn't matter. I saw him putt on the last hole. And then PFT's like, dude, I hit it, pin high. And then they play together on the fifth hole after his suspension, right? Falls away, right? They're both able to play. And PFT sticks it closer to the hole than he does. I mean, look,
Yeah, it was
you know,
that one that bothered me. But it's funny because after the fact, I've seen um, a lot of people that were there talking about Quan. They were like, "Yeah, in the moment there was this, there was that, but he's a good guy, this, that, and the other thing." But then I saw Whitney, who was on the Untamed podcast
mhm.
like a week ago, and he's like, "That guy's an ass." Like he's still pissed at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll probably
So
take a while to get over that.
yeah. But a lot of the people were like, "No, he's just such a nice guy," and blah blah blah. That was not him, and blah. But Whitney's like, "No, the way he acted, no excuse." So yeah, it was good. So the Internet Invitation, we'll talk more about that down the road as it concludes. It's actually going to finish tomorrow, so hopefully by the time we meet again, you'll have a chance to see it.
Yeah, I
I
should be
can tell
caught
you
up
it
by
gets
then.
it gets better if you can believe it. It gets better.
Really?
Yeah, it's good. It's very good. Um, all right, so let's move on to some hacker golf. Us. You played in a Ryder Cup thing.
I did. So the watching the Internet Invitational was eerily reminiscent of what I did must be 2 weeks ago now. So bunch of buddies of mine at work. They are anywhere from a four handicap to a, whatever the max is, right? What is it, like 36, 40 these days, whatever.
I think it's 36. I don't know.
Yeah. It's bad, right? So we have a full range of guys. I sit snugly in the middle of this range, you know. We all decide we're going to take off from work. Let's try and get as many people as we can. We'll do a Ryder Cup style format. And we ended up doing three tee times for 12 people, two teams of six. We went into a conference room at work for 20 minutes and we did exactly like they did at the beginning of the Internet Invitational. What's your hand? Wait, how do we pair these people up? We're gonna put this person as our first pair. Okay, well then we're gonna match it with it. We're just yelling at each other in this conference room in the office, mind you. It's very funny, right?
That's awesome.
We end up we're making group chats. What color is our team going to be? We're trying to coordinate the whole thing. We go out. We ended up playing 36 holes. So it was front nine, back nine, two separate scrambles for a full point each. And then the second 18 was front nine shamble, back nine alternate shot.
What is
So
Shamble?
shamble is take the best drive from the two people on your team, and then you best ball the rest of the way there.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, wow.
Yep.
I didn't know that
So
was called a Shamble. That's cool.
I didn't know that either, right? They were just throwing lingo at me. I was grabbing it and rolling with it.
I
But
like it.
I had a blast doing this, Brian. It came down to, right? So there's three groupings, and we mixed up the pairings between the two 18s so that it actually felt like two separate days. And we were golfing from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. It was awesome. The golf
Yeah,
courses were 5 minutes down the road from each other, so it was very convenient.
that's awesome.
Um, we were first ones out at the first place. So we really just flew along. Ton of fun. It ended up coming down to the last foursome on the last hole. We were all tied up until they pulled up.
That is
And
so cool.
they were dead even walking onto that hole.
And everybody's
So
around the green.
we followed them the whole way. We huddled around them on the tee box.
Oh, that's so
They
cool.
hit their shots. We followed them in our carts the whole way up, and then we're on the green, surround the green, and we're going nuts. The respectfully, the person with the highest handicap, it's alternate shot, mind you. He's
Ooh.
got a putt to win the whole thing from like 10 feet, and he hit it like a rocket ship, like a million miles an hour right over the front of the hole, bounces off the back, 2 inches into the air. This thing had some mustard on it. Boop, right in.
Oh my
Match was
God.
over. We all went nuts. It was unbelievable.
Wow. So obviously that's now a thing, right? It's the
Oh yeah.
annual whatever.
We're doing it. They already said we want to turn it into a semi-annual event where they
Cool.
do a spring one and then a fall one. So beginning of the season, end of the season.
That's awesome.
So it was a ton of fun. Highly recommend for anyone out there that hasn't played alternate shot yet. You got to give it a go. It is hysterical. Hysterical.
Yeah, that's cool. So you were able to do it in one full day. So that's interesting. I think I'm gonna try to put something like that together with the guys that I play with. That'll be fun.
Absolutely. My one thing that I recommend that for anyone that's going to do that is I went out, I had a bottle of Aleve in my bag with me the whole way. So that definitely helped. A little PEDs.
Well, you've never been down to Myrtle Beach, right?
No, I have not. I'm dying to get down there though.
So
I
try
think it's
doing
beautiful.
that for 3 days.
Yeah, that's a marathon right there.
Yeah, it's a marathon. 36 a day, 3 days, two teams. Yeah, it's that times three. It's crazy.
Yeah, a marathon, but a dream too. A dream too.
Oh
What
yeah, it's
about you?
awesome.
What have you been up to, Brian? I know you're
So I
going
do
out and
my
playing.
yeah, I do my Sunday match, and we've been fortunate this year. The weather's been great. I think we've only missed one Sunday due to weather. This past Sunday we had a good match. It's grown. It was four of us at the beginning of the year, and my buddy Simsy was under the gun. He had a surgery, so he came back, made it five, and then we got three other guys, that we grew up with, and they all got into it. So now we have a consistent eightsome that plays,
Wow.
and it's really good. We're still going. I don't know when the weather's going to officially kick us out. I don't think it's going to be this great on Sunday. I think it's going to rain, but as long as the course is open, we're going to play, and for as long as the course stays open until the winter shuts it down. But it's been good. This year was just been a good year. I started the year at like a 14, and now I'm down to a 9.92. I played a lot of golf, although I am going to get my knee done sooner than later. And
Okay.
I don't know how that's going to impact the beginning of my golf season, but I got to get it done because it's at the point now where it's just not fun. So yeah, I mean, but that's my cross to bear, but I'll power through it. That's not a big deal.
Yes.
So yeah, I
There's
mean,
one thing about you, you're a grinder, Brian. You'll
yeah,
get through.
I'll get through it. And then exciting enough, you'll be here in the spring, so there'll be a lot of golf with you and the Tuesday nights, the Sundays. It'll be good. It'll be Thursday mornings. If you want to get up early, we can play some Thursday morning golf.
Absolutely. I'm very excited. Yes, looking forward to being over there with you guys and playing some more golf regularly. You're bold enough and strong enough to share your handicap on screen. I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, mine will come next year after I get it down a little bit further. But
That doesn't matter.
yeah, no, it's I'm very much so looking forward to getting out and golfing a little bit more next year. Done with my masters at that point, so no more homework. It'll be good. Get out, practice, hit the range. I'm excited.
Yeah, so I have control of this podcast, so I can create as much content as I want, and I'm going to do that because I really like doing this stuff. I think this was a really good conversation tonight. One of the things I'm going to be doing, actually, today's Wednesday. On Friday, I'm going to travel around to local indoor golf simulator places and try to get an interview with maybe the manager, but I'll do some filming of the place and then afterwards come up with some kind of ranking, you know. And we can do some indoor outdoor places because some of the outdoor places, with the heaters, and I know of a couple of them.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to separate indoor versus outdoor or just keep them all, together. I'm not sure, but I'll definitely have some. I'll have to come up with categories like food or drink or prices, things like that. So have all those things weigh into how the final evaluation comes in. So I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be out. I'll do some filming on Friday. Hopefully get that out either Friday night or early Saturday. But I'm excited. Follow us on Instagram. We'll be plenty of reels going out there for that. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna go visit Joe and Lee's on Friday morning. Talk to them about how they want to collaborate. If they want to do merchandise stuff, if they want to do their training facility, or they want to talk about the golf course, all of the above, whatever it is. I want to have a conversation with them because they don't really do a lot of advertising. So well, hopefully there's a conversation there that can lead us to a better place. We'll see. But I might film that too, just to show you what the process is. But anyway, Good stuff, JT. I've enjoyed this. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to many, many more.
absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, Brian. I'm excited to jump on in the future, talk a little more golf, and yeah, this has been great.
Cool. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
All
Thank you.
right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.